You're listening to Victory by Association with Jeff Tippett, international speaker, best-selling author, and entrepreneur. This is the podcast exclusively for association executives and members. Each week, Jeff interviews association executives about their victories, igniting new ideas for you to create greater value for your members. And now, Jeff Tippett.
Well, hello, everyone. I'm Jeff Tippett. I am grateful that you joined us for today's episode of Victory by Association. Today's show is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/VBA. That's audibletrial.com/VBA. With over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. Check out our show notes for the link. Today, I'm excited to welcome our special guest, Jeff Murison. Jeff, welcome.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
This is kind of awesome to interview someone that I know in real life. I don't usually get this opportunity, so this is going to be a lot of fun.
You're telling me. I'm excited.
So tell me quickly a little bit about the Hill Street Group and what all you guys do.
We're the Community Development Corporation for Hillsborough Street here in Raleigh, next to NC State. Our job is to bring the community together and help it continue to grow and become a destination in Raleigh, a place where people come and have a great time, want to come back again and again and again, whether you're a student, faculty and staff, alumni, local resident, or just visiting Raleigh.
Love it. You guys do a fantastic job. Well, Jeff, do this for me, if you will. Give me something here, something interesting or unique about you that most people don't know, something they won't find on your LinkedIn profile or maybe your website. Tell me something interesting or unique about you.
Well, that could be embarrassing, but
that's okay.
Let me think. Well, so it's kind of crazy, but I am known to make a incredible breakfast casserole. And so people invite me to their events and say, you're invited to come, but you have to bring your breakfast casserole with you. And so whether it's the beach, for a beach house or a wedding or the city holiday parades, that's my thing. I make them different each time, and now I have to bring 2 or 3 because they sell like hotcakes.
Man, I love it. That's fantastic. So we send out this podcast to about 50,000 association executives each week. You might get a few requests there for your casserole, so just give you a heads up right now. Be prepared for that.
Who would have guessed?
All right, well, tell us a little bit about the association victory you'd like to share today with our audience of association executives.
Sure. Well, obviously, we're in the business of trying to get people to come to Hillsborough Street, and the city was great and invested a bunch of money in our new streetscape back in 2010, asked us to do a grand opening event. And so we did, and it was successful. It had maybe 15, 20,000 people attended. Fun day. We all loved it, thought, boy, this would be great if we did it again and again, but we really didn't know how we were going to pull that off. And then about a year later, just by happenstance, it turned out to be NC State's 125th anniversary. And so they invited me to be on the planning team. I was the only person from outside of the university on the team. And as we were talking about it, I just said, hey, why don't we do a street festival? Why don't we make a big celebration on the street? And they said that would be great. They agreed to do it. We did, and it was hugely successful. Great time, great day. Certainly a whole lot more people, like 40,000. But they said, we're only going to do this once. This is a one and done thing. And, it was so successful that we were like, wow, we got to keep doing it. And sure enough, we lobbied them hard. We partnered with them. They've been great partners. Now we're coming into our eighth year for Packapalooza. It's totally taken on a life of its own. It's a branded event that is part of their traditions now, that welcomes students when they're freshmen to the campus and to the street and the community, and it also welcomes everybody back. It's a family-friendly, fun, free event for the day on a Saturday afternoon, and it's just been hugely successful.
Jeff, that's fantastic. I can tell you from personal experience, I've been there. It's quite an amazing event, and pulling together 40 to 50,000 people, that's no small feat. That's a major accomplishment there. So for your group and for those around NC State, why did this matter why was it important to pull people together for this face-to-face encounter?
Sure. We talk about a concept we call TownGown relationships, that partnership between a college or a university and its community, its host community, the town and the city, and in our case, the street that it's on. And there's a lot of tensions there. Students and local residents are on different cycles. Businesses and universities have different interests. And so creating positive relationships and that kind of energy that comes from that strong partnership and a strong town-gown relationship is really, really important. And this day is awesome. It uses the street. It welcomes everybody to come. As I say, it's family friendly, so it could be local, families and toddlers, all the way up to grandparents and alumni from all over the state. It's free, it's welcoming, it shows off the best of the university, but it also highlights our merchants, and it introduces our street to freshmen in their first days. They come in on Saturday. They have class on Wednesday, and then Packapalooza's on the first Saturday that they're here. So it's a safe, welcoming experience, and it highlights, the street. It makes it clear to them that Hillsborough Street's the center of Pack Pride, and so hopefully they'll have decades of memories and experiences connected to Hillsborough Street as they go through, through the university and then on through life as an alum.
So I love that. And one of the things I especially like about what you're talking about here is how associations can partner with another organization to create something much larger than maybe the association could do in and of itself. There had to have been some barriers or some obstacles in working with like a major other partner like North Carolina State University. What are some of the barriers or obstacles that you faced in planning or working with a partner in something like this? Tell us a little bit about that.
Right. It's a huge event. Obviously, pulling it off every year is a major task. It's got a big price tag. So obviously, the funding is an issue. Closing the street in Raleigh is a major challenge. It's a busy thoroughfare, so it involves city planning and police and to make sure it's done safely. Getting the word out about it is a challenge in and of itself. So it takes a team. There's a planning team of probably 40 to 50 people inside and outside of the university that works on it all year. If you really want to know what fun is, try sitting through one of those meetings to pick what artist is going to be the headliner band each year. The students all want Beyonce or Lady Gaga, and then we tell them what we can afford. And so there's a lot of challenges of the university is a big entity, and so you got to pull a variety of people together to close the streets, have power, to deal with food vendors and the permits. It's all, it's a lot to manage. We have outside vendors, artists, 3 stages. You name it, all kinds of different zones, and making all that happen seamlessly so that people come and have a safe and fun experience takes a lot of work. And, now last year, I think we estimated about 90,000 people attended.
Wow.
So, it's a big day, and it takes a lot of coordination, a lot of compromise, a lot of partnership.
Absolutely. So when you're looking at this event, like, what are your metrics for success? As you're coming into it, you're planning, you're doing all this work around it. What do you call success?
We call success perfect weather. If it's a bright sunny day, then one person shows up, then it's great. But no, obviously, having a lot of people there, a really diverse attendance. Obviously, we want students, faculty, staff, alumni, but we really like to see the community come out, families and kids. When our merchants get involved and have a booth and show off their business and create new customers, repeat customers, that's a win. When we can get the community behind it and expose the community to some of the things that the university is doing and vice versa. Sometimes we get the city out there with new things, like when they were doing the second phase of the streetscape. Then you're doing community awareness pieces. That's a win. And of course, at the end of the night, when there's 10,000 people surrounding the main stage at the bell tower, singing along and having a great time and really feeling like they're connecting to Hillsborough Street, that's a great feeling of success.
Fantastic. So Jeff, tell us this, for our association executive audience here that might be considering like really launching out to some type of major event, like you're talking about, pulling it up to 90,000 people, and also partnering with a major partner like someone like North Carolina State University. What tips could you offer to our association executives that they might need to know in pulling off something like this?
Stay flexible, right? Because there's a lot of changing factors and conditions. Um, have a plan and a budget. Go in with some basic ideas, but stay flexible. Be really open-minded about who your partners can be, because there's partners all over the place that come from the most unlikely of corners, and it's really cool to see when a church says, "Oh, we want to do this," or a department at the university comes out with an exhibit or an activity that you totally weren't expecting. When the international students all carry a flag from their home country down Hillsborough Street, that's pretty neat experience. So flexibility. Certainly, I recommend having a rain date. That's always useful. And also thanking your team, because this isn't done by one person. It's done by a big team of people on that game day. It's a lot of hands and volunteers, and so being mindful that it takes a whole lot of folks to pull something like that off, and have fun.
And have fun. I love it. So you kind of taken me to my last question here for you is, pulling together 90,000 people, you can't do that all with just paid staff. There have to have been some wonderful volunteers, some association superheroes and I know you have tons of them, but would you maybe just give us a shout out here? I think there's great value in just showing appreciation to others for things that they do. Would you mind just giving us a shout out here to maybe an association superhero volunteer that you've worked with?
Sure. We've got tons of volunteers for that event and others. Two people jump to mind. Bob Mosier is a local resident who's been a city employee, a local resident. He's on our board representing the residents and neighborhoods, and he really helps us stay connected. When the city was doing a project and had to cut down some trees, he really worked with us to advocate for the city to get the trees replaced and more trees added to make it a beautiful environment. And another person is Dan Howell. He was the assistant city manager. He's an adjunct professor at the university. He was on our board as a representative of the city, but then when he retired, he stayed on the board and even became board chair. Now he just lends his services to us and helps us with projects. We're blessed to have great volunteers, great partners that continue to contribute and give back. And we try and recognize them. We actually gave Dan Howell our Hillsborough Street Hero of the Year award this past year at our annual meeting. So it's important to say thank you and remember the people that are really making it happen.
Man, Jeff, that's fantastic. You have been an amazing guest. Like, I just think of all the value here that you brought to associations, two things that might be looking to bring on a partner for an event, some major group, but also that might want to do a big live event. And man, you certainly have the tips here, pulling in up to 90,000 people together. So Jeff, thank you for being a guest today. How can people find you?
You can visit our website, hillsboroughstreet.org, and we certainly have a wide social media presence as well.
And we'll put all those in the show notes for today. Thank you all for listening. Hey, as my gift to you today, I have a free chapter from my book, Unleashing Your Superpower. And this chapter helps you develop precise messaging, which is the foundation for persuading other people, developing your message. Free chapter for you. Just text the word persuade to 66866, persuade to 66866. And I'll see you all next week as we discover another victory by association.
You've been listening to Victory by Association with Jeff Tippett. If you've enjoyed, please subscribe, rate, and review. Be sure to check out the show notes for links relating to this episode. For information about becoming a sponsor or guest, please email podcast@jefftippett.com.